As many as half of all Ohio workers don't have paid time off, according to a union which wants Ohio to become the first state in the nation to change that, with a law created at either the State House or at the polls. The Service Employees International Union, District 1199, has launched a petition drive for what's being called the Healthy Families Act. It would require employers to offer paid sick leave to their workers who put in at least 30 hours a week. It is an initiated statute, which means backers would take it to lawmakers first. And if they don't act, then those backers could go out and gather more signatures on petitions and take the issue to voters. Though it wouldn't be on the ballot until November of 2008, business leaders say they're already worried sick about it, saying it would be a mandate that would cost them money and could cost workers other benefits in the long run. Here to analyze the issue are two key figures involved in it. Dave Regan from SEIU 1199 and Ty Pine from the National Federation of Independent Business, Ohio. So let's start with you, Dave Regan. You're saying 47% of Ohioans don't have paid sick leave. Well, how many is that in terms of, how many is that people who are supporting families who are over 18, not working, not high school kids working?
It's something north of 2 million employees in the state of Ohio. It is literally millions of people. And the problem as we see it is that these millions of people at this point in time simply don't have the ability to properly care for their children, for aging parents, or for themselves. And they don't have this ability because, as you said, nearly half of Ohio employees don't have paid sick days on their job. So our solution to that is the Healthy Families Act, which is a piece of legislation, as you've described, that would provide for people the ability to earn up to 7 days of paid sick leave per year. The reason we're supporting this and working hard on it and will ultimately be successful are pretty clear and direct. First of all, we think this is a simple and responsible solution to what really is a crisis in millions of people's lives. We think this is fair for everybody involved, and we think it's very important that this is a solution that gives people the right to earn paid sick days. It's not an entitlement. It's not something that takes from one person to give to another, but it's something that rewards work, rewards the values of work, and will ultimately create a far healthier and more productive state.
And Ty Pine, let me ask you, what's the problem with this? Everybody gets sick. What's the problem with requiring employers to offer sick leave, since many of them are not?
Well, Karen, first, thanks for having us on today again. It is really an issue of compensation is what we're talking about here. They have targeted a single subset of a compensation package, which in Ohio today is determined by employers working with their employees. Those issues include things like actually what you make an hour, whether or not you get personal time, whether you get sick time, whether or not you get paid vacation time. And so what we are doing here is taking away an opportunity for employees to engage with their employer and determine what they value. For example, an employee today may value a single young man or young woman at the age of 22 years old, may prefer another $2 or $3 an hour in lieu of 7 mandatory paid sick days. The employer will no longer have that flexibility to offer that in the workplace and attract the employees that are best suited to that profession. So once again, we're back to the voters that don't have an opportunity typically to hear all of the ins and outs of a public policy message. They will hear a few commercials and hopefully a show or two like this. But at the end of the day, what we're really doing is shortchanging the worker, because there are real-world consequences to the things that happen in public policy. So we are opposed. We are very concerned that we are eliminating flexibility once again for Ohio employers at a time when Ohio is desperately trying to attract employers and eligible employees.
What's wrong with that? Why would you want to take it out of the employer's hands and the employer-employee relationship and make it a state mandate?
Well, the simple fact is, again, that nearly half of the employees in the state of Ohio don't have the ability to care for their children, an aging parent, or themselves. So, for instance, now, a working mother who has a toddler, nearly half of these folks don't have the ability to make sure that they have the time to get away from their job in a responsible way. They're forced to make choices that nobody wants to make, which is literally choose between a full paycheck, providing proper health care for your child, or in some cases even losing your job. And there are examples, and as we've talked about this issue, people are coming forward This is a real pressing issue in people's lives. And with all due respect to Ty, I think we all know that typical Ohioans out there are not faced with a $3 pay increase or a handful of paid sick days. That's not the reality that people are experiencing. The reality is that families are being squeezed. They don't have the time to take care of their kids and other loved ones. This is a simple, responsible measure that allows people to earn something that in the end results in healthier communities, a more productive state, and a better place to live. And I think it's important what Ty said. Young people are fleeing this state, and young parents in particular are the ones who have to face this issue about caring for their children in some of the most serious ways, and this is a responsible way to address that.
But making it a state mandate would be better than leaving it to the employer-employee to work out on their own and make this a benefit, make this something they want.
I think it's important to note that the measure that we're proposing, the legislation that we're proposing, makes it clear and prohibits taking away from people that which they already have or penalizing people because we're going to construct a system that provides the ability for people to earn sick days. It doesn't do that. And again, I think Ty knows that, but we're going to throw out all of these sorts of arguments. We should avoid that. Right now, nearly half of people don't get this. We are not meeting this challenge as a state, and so this is a responsible way to do that.
Well, nearly half of employers, according to his statistics, are not offering paid sick leave. So that suggests maybe if we leave it up to employers to do this, they won't do it. So they want to take it to the voters.
Our data shows a little bit something different. When we ask our members, again, we have 25,000 independent business owners across Ohio, typically small, mom and pop shops, if you will. They handle it the way a responsible employer should. They look and they talk to their employees. If there is a crisis in the home, a loved one dies, gets sick, they will deal with that. And the reality is typically not being fired, although that is certainly a reality in limited cases.